All right. Here we are. 2025. Yo, we made it. Wow. How exciting. How exciting it is to be in 2025. Isn't it exciting? Right? What does it feel like? I wonder what it feels like to you where you are in the world if you felt a sense of clarity and lightness and inspiration for a new chapter of life. You know, for me, I am sort of like a rebellious spirit. I don't like order and I don't like people telling me what to do. And I have a really hard time with like collective thought patterns that are just a little bit strange, such as like New Year's resolutions and creating all of these, I don't know, all this energetic mm, attachment towards like the delineation of time shifting from one year to the next, even though every day the sun rises and we wake up anew again. So kind of, technically every day is a new year. Can be a new opportunity for a new you if you allow it to be. And sometimes we get into the patterns of our lives, right? We get into the habitual looping of our lives, and often it takes creating a shift to allow ourselves space to experience life in a different way. And I think about that sometimes because if we are all just creating our reality, then there must be ways that we can better allow these shifts to happen. I was on my friend's Instagram, beautiful woman, and she had on her Instagram in her bio something about allowing the quantum shifts to occur. And for me, in my life, it's been a little challenging sometimes to allow those quantum shifts to occur because there's part of my nervous system and my body that feels these attachments to certain paradigms and structures in my life, even though I'm consciously aware of the potential of making quantum shifts. And lately, I've been allowing myself to shift more quickly, moving from one side of the big island to the other side of the big island, making sort of big changes and shifts. But gosh, I mean, there is infinite potential realities out there, and at any point in time, we can completely revolutionize our lives. And not just for the sake of change, but for the sake of the better good. And if we're tapping into a higher frequency and a higher vibration of what we are being called to do and create in our lives, then for a lot of us that may feel a sense of purpose, it becomes a matter of where's the gap? Where's the gap from where we are today and right now to where we want to be? And in reality transurfing, in manifestation, in spiritual work, in energetic alchemy, in the co-creation of the creatorhood and creatorship of being the embodied vessel of this consciousness, we come to the realization that we are just making all of these choices and decisions for ourselves. And on some level that we actually are able to utilize different teachings. Reality Transurfing is a book that talks about it. How do we collapse that timeline? How do we collapse the timeline between the life that we're currently living? Not that there's anything wrong or bad or any judgment towards that, because I feel like the best way to approach life is to just believe and assume that where I am is perfect and I am exactly where I'm supposed to be in this divine moment right now, and trusting in that process. Because if I don't trust in that process, then I'm trusting in some other process and I'm going down these frequencies of like, I'm not supposed to be here. I'm not supposed to be here. I'm supposed to be somewhere else. And ooh, if I want to be somewhere else and I'm denying my now, then I'm sort of hurting myself. Ooh, that doesn't feel good. And I'm denying my existence. And I'm not really grounding and anchoring my energy into the acceptance that everything led up to the now in perfect harmony, exactly as it needed to be. And that just feels really good. It just feels good. It makes navigating life and this quantum entanglement that we're all moving through a little bit more palpable, a little bit more okay, if I am to just accept that I'm supposed to be here now and that it's okay. And that I get to choose and I get to shift as a conscious, sovereign being with choice. I decide. In every moment and in every breath, I get to decide. What do I choose? What do I truly desire? And it's been a really interesting process for me to come more back into myself in this current iteration of the spiral of awakening and losing myself and coming back into myself and finding myself again and then losing myself again, and the dance between the divine, and to come to the realization that, like, man, I'm really the one choosing all of this. I'm the one choosing to stand here right now in my bedroom and shoot this podcast. I'm the one deciding to live where I live and to do what I do. And in any moment, I have the power as a conscious sovereign being with choice to choose something different, to choose something that may serve me better, that may be in more alignment with my highest good. And in quantum reality, all of these timelines actually exist already. They're already there waiting for us. And so that was a really beautiful distinction for me to realize that the things that I want to manifest into my life, they're already there. They're already mine. Because it's just a different shape and form of energy that already exists in the mind of the infinite, in the collective consciousness, in the quantum field. And so that anything that we want to attract into our life, it doesn't have to come from like, please, God, please give me this thing. Please bless me with this thing that I don't know if I can really have, because I don't know if I really believe in myself and my own autonomy to be able to create it. So just please, like, maybe some luck of the draw will somehow make me win the lottery, and then I'll just be like, oh, I'm so lucky. I'm so lucky that all these things happened. Yeah, I'm sure there's a degree of luck involved, but I just feel like engaging with life as a conscious creator, as an energetically sovereign being, to know, and to really believe that the things that we want, the life that we want, the reality that we want to move into is already ours. It's there. It exists already. And it's just a matter of collapsing the timeline, collapsing the space in between the life we're living right now and the life that we truly desire. And that literally, quite simply, we can basically just walk into that reality. I find that interesting and fascinating. And I think also the things that make it feel not as simple as that is really just our attachments. It's our energetic attachments to our karma, to the karma of our lives that for most of us make life feel like this linear thing rather than this quantum thing. So it's just really interesting to kind of play into those fields. But yeah, moving into 2024, I'm feeling really, really good. I'm feeling really, really good, and I'm curious how you're feeling wherever you are in the world. But for me, I've really come in some sort of spiralic full circle. And actually, this place that I'm living in right now is literally the first home that I landed in on the Big Island 1 year ago. And so I literally, I lived off grid in the jungle for like 6 months, healing. I lived in Kona on the other side of the island, and I was working 2 jobs, and it was all this forward movement and forward momentum. I was trying to create for myself to really push myself into a new chapter, but it really wasn't nourishing me, and it was just not feeling good at all. And I've been really learning how to listen to my heart, how to navigate life from my intuitive feeling, and less so from my mind. And so that was like really a karmic play out for me of living again, kind of like letting my mind guide the show, but also having the wisdom having gained from listening to my heart now for a couple of years, having gone through my spiritual awakening now for a couple of years. And yeah, really allowing myself to navigate through reality with a different modus operatus, so to speak. And so, yeah, a couple weeks ago, I listened to Teal Swan's forecast for 2025. And Teal Swan makes these really amazing, energetic, spiritual forecasts for the year to come. She's been making them for a long time, and I like her. I think she's pretty. I think she's pretty, and I think she knows a thing or two about the ether, and I think she's pretty tapped in. So I listen. There's a little grain of salt there, right? Everything is relative. But I listened to her projection for 2025, her prediction, not her projection. Maybe a little bit of projection. I don't know. Maybe I'm the one projecting. And so she basically said, like, 2025 is all about shooting for your highest timeline. 2025 is about going for the highest timeline at any cost. It's about humanity coming to a place where it's like, bruh, it's now or never. Let's go. Let's make this thing happen. It's time. It's finally like, I'm going for it. And for me, like, that just fully, completely resonated with me. No ifs, ands, or buts. It's been feeling to me like I've been playing out these, like, karma. I've been burning karma left and right. And there's been this burning desire within me to really shoot for the highest timeline. And I feel like for the last 10 years of my life, I've been living sort of in this half life of not really fully authentically being myself, not allowing myself to feel, and not really shooting for the highest timeline. All of this mental neurotic nonsense of like, oh, I need to do this, I should do that, I have to do this, I should been shooting all over myself. And none of it felt good. And I just got to the point this year, after having gone through so much of letting go of all this karma and identifications with who I thought I was and all of these masks that I was wearing, that finally I just came to a place where I'm just like, man, fuck it. Like, let's go. Like, let's shoot for this highest timeline. And I think the reason why collectively we're feeling that is because the world is accelerating at such a pace that it doesn't feel like there's really any room for grounding. And it just feels like we're being shifted and shaken up so much that it's just time to go. It's time to go, because it's like, what is the other option, really? How much time left do we even have, right? I feel this underlying feeling of, I just don't really know where humanity's going. I don't know how much time I have left on this planet. I don't know how much. I mean, it's like there's just so much going on between the election, between wars, between AI, between all of these shifts that are happening in our collective, that can be really scary and terrifying. And honestly, last year I was falling pretty deep into nihilistic thinking, into into just feeling like, gosh, like what's the point even, that, man, it was challenging. It was challenging, and I think a lot of people that are clinging on to these old paradigms are going to have religious, a really hard time, because it's almost like this collective energetic shift that we're experiencing is shaking things up so much that it's just bringing up everyone's shit to deal with. And if you're not dealing with it, if you're numbing out, if you're choosing to stay in the shadow and like what worked before, being comfortable there, it's no longer comfortable. And I think humanity is going to face a fork in the road. And I think with all of this technological holographic distortion that's penetrating our consciousness, I think a lot of people are going to be too afraid to deal with their shit, too afraid to make the changes that need to be made, and that they'll end up just doubling down on numbing out, doubling down on becoming a vegetable, doubling down on basically giving their vitality and their life force to the machine, which is a scary thing to say. But for those that are tapped into this frequency right now, I don't think that's you. I don't think that's you. I don't think you'd last this long on whatever this podcast is if that was you. And I see the positive in all of it. I think this transition is really going to balance itself out. And I think in us shooting for this higher timeline, for me, I feel the clarity of this higher vision and this higher consciousness that we are sort of coming into collectively together. And I think it's really bringing up some beautiful things. Like, we're shifting out of the idea of the nuclear family. We're shifting out of all of these collective constructs that weren't really serving us, but we're kind of just there. And we're really stepping into like a new old way, like an ancient future. And I'm just really inspired to be a part of this collective rising and a part of this collective calling in of this higher timeline and this higher frequency where we can all live into our highest truth, where we can be stewards of the land, where we can live in harmony and sacred reciprocity with life itself. And, for me, I've just come to the realization that center, that truth, all of those spiritual realizations are really the center. It's the center for me. And, I have no idea where the world is going to go. I have no idea if some freaking insane world leader is going to blast a nuke and we're all just going to blast ourselves into oblivion. I don't think that's going to happen because I really believe in these higher realms. And I think what's coming through right now with the UFOs and all of these extraterrestrial entities that are in our collective consciousness, I really feel like on some level we're probably being guided by these higher realms. We're being guided by our galactic star family, and they're not going to let us, and they're not going to let these leaders mess it all up for all of us, because it's so fun. Life is so fun, and I'm finally allowing myself to like really have fun with it. Gosh, my expression, allowing myself to dance in my masculine and feminine energy, in this energetic alchemy, in this androgyny, in this playful playground of life it just feels so great. And I'm finally allowing myself to really have fun, to really feel it. Like, even in my online business that I'm creating and all that I want to create and push my consciousness into the world and lift up all the people around me, like, I want to bring fun into that. I want that to be exciting and joyful and like a beautiful tantric ceremony with life itself. Like, I don't want to live in the struggle anymore. I don't want to feel like it's hard and challenging. And like, the reality is it doesn't need to be. And I was able to prove that to myself in all of my unfolding this year and in the last couple years. Like literally losing all of my material finances, my money, all the business that I had, all of my quote unquote success, like all of that I feel like I created from my mind and my ego, and it wasn't fully exactly what I really wanted to be. It wasn't what I really wanted to create. And they always say that. They say don't chase the money, you know? You can't chase the money. Like the money will come when you are in alignment with yourself. And I finally feel like I'm in alignment with myself. And also I think the money is going to come in a major way because I'm just really good at making money. And money for me is really important. It's always been really important, a little bit too important, if I do must say so myself. I got lost in it for a long time, and I really had to fall. I fell super hard, and I'm probably going to shoot another video and really go into my full story. But I mean, man, I chose to ride some major big Waimea waves in this lifetime, brah. Like Eddie Aikau shit, cuz like I don't surf at Waimea, at least not yet. Maybe I will one day. I feel like I can cuz I've surfed Sunset Beach, and I feel like I can be a big wave surfer, and I have the capacity cuz I can do anything and I'm capable of anything that I want to achieve in this lifetime, and I believe in myself. Yeah. But man, tall mountains, and yeah, I don't know why. I just wanted to go big or go home in this lifetime, I guess. I mean, if you don't know my story, like literally 3-4 years ago, I mean, I had $1 million solar company in LA, outside of LA, Inland Empire, Rancho Cucamonga, Riverside, for anybody familiar with San Bernardino County. Was a beautiful place to have a solar company because it had bigger homes. It had a lot of middle class Americans, a lot of Hispanics, and I just got along with that caste system, that economic, whatever I'm trying to say, that demographic. Because I mean, I was born and raised in Hawaii, and most people are sort of middle to lower class, working class people, and I got along with Hispanics as well because they kind of felt like Hawaiians in some way. And so I had my solar company there. By the time I was 26 or 27, I had this $1 million company. I had 10 salespeople working for me. I had an office. I was the CEO. We were running Facebook ads. I was dishing out appointments. My top sales guy made $200,000 plus a year. I bought a house when I was 26. I had a white Tesla with white seats. I was able to run my business remotely. I moved back to Hawaii. I fell in love with a beautiful spiritual woman. I thought I was going to marry her. I was living on the North Shore right in front of Sunset Beach, by Mothers, for all of those who are North Shore savvy. And brah, I was surfing every day, was making love, was running my business remotely, was living my dream. I mean, that was my dream, being a kid from Waikiki, like living up in the North Shore, surfing big waves, living in the countryside, like, and I lived that dream for 6 months. It was really beautiful. That's a really interesting thing, like to live your dream. And also, like, whatever your dream is, eventually it'll fade away. I never thought it would only last for 6 months, though. That was a bit short, in my opinion. But I wanted to ride big waves, and sometimes when you ride big waves, figuratively and metaphorically, sometimes you gonna wipe out, brah. Sometimes you gonna have some heavy wipe outs. And I had it coming. I had it coming for sure, because I was just young and naive, and I was in my 20s and my brain wasn't fully developed yet. All of those things. I wanted to be great so badly. And because I had money and success early on, because I was able to put these things together, and I worked really hard, and I did a lot of sacrifice, and also I had really amazing people that believed in me and believed in the vision and stood by me. And one of my biggest shames in life, and part of the reason why it's been so hard to get myself back together, is because of the immense shame I feel for letting those people down, you know, for really the people that really cared for me and I brought along, and that were my brothers, my people, and my tribe. I didn't even have any tribe, any family out in California, and those were my people, and I really let them down, you know. I let the money get the best of me, and I made decisions that I really regret, and I hurt people that, you know, I really apologize. And none, you know, all those people that were in my life in my previous business that were my soul family in many ways, like yeah, none of them are really in my life anymore. So it's been a challenging thing to deal with, you know, and to go from that. So I was living this dream life, this idealistic life, and then I lost it all. I mean, literally like catching a wave at the top, you're too late, right? And straight up over the falls, done. I lost all of it, you know. I couldn't hold on to it. It was too far gone. The only thing I had to do was let it go. Like, I literally had to come up with 200 grand. I had to leave my life in Hawaii. I had to move back to California and start all over again. And to go door to door again doing solar sales, which for me just felt so energetically complete. I was just like, there's no way, brah. There's no way. I'm not gonna do that. So I let it go. And I lost it all. I lost the girl. I had to let go of the relationship. I mean, I just couldn't show up for myself. I couldn't show up for anybody. I was hurting real bad. It felt like my root was just kicked out. And I couldn't even stand up straight. And I ended up moving back in with my dad in Waikiki. And bruh, I freaking hate Waikiki, bro. I don't like Waikiki at all. I don't like what Waikiki represents. I don't like how it feels. I last about 2 days in Waikiki when I go see my dad. My energy gets all mixed up. All these concrete and buildings and colonization and commercialism and just tourism and extortion of the resources and siphoning out paradise, and none of that money goes back to the local people, and it's just like this big money grab in one of the most sacred places in Hawaii. And I just don't like it, but I had to move back in with my dad. It was, you know, I was 200 grand in debt. I didn't know how to get out of it. I thought my life was over. You know, I lived with my dad for a year in my childhood home, in my childhood apartment with my father. God, in the room that I was in as a child. Like, imagine going from like on top of the world to like, oh, wow. Here we go, right back at the beginning, but even less from the beginning, because it's like I didn't even have a clean slate. Like, I was underwater, just trying to come up for some air, man. Gosh. And it was hard. It took me a while. It took me a while to get out of that. It was hard, and you know, after a year living with my dad, I was like, man, I need to try to get out of this, because, you know, I'm so grateful for my father for letting me live with him, but to be like 28, 29 and like back in living with my dad, like after energetically having been initiated into manhood, having become a man in many ways, because I was so financially secure before I was financially insecure, like I was solid, bro. Like, I could provide. And that aspect of providing was really fulfilling for me. I really enjoyed it. And it's like this aspect of manhood that I feel like it just feels great. It's the best feeling ever, you know? Like, I want to have kids. I want to have a family. I want to own a home. I want to be growing food and have land and like be able to bring people into sharing in this life ceremony together, and to have that sort of like stripped away from me and to have to like start over it's been challenging. You know, it's been a real process that has taken me actual years to come back from, to reorient myself, to get out of the karmic attachments, to like let go of certain things, to ho'oponopono and come back into good relationship within myself, and to start navigating life again. And it's interesting because when I fell, there was a part of me that really didn't want to fall. And there was a part of me that was sort of resisting the inevitable fall that needed to happen. And so there's a saying that goes, no mud, no lotus. And what no mud, no lotus means is that without falling, without these challenges, without going into the dirt and the muck and getting dirty and losing yourself, that there's nothing beautiful. There's no lotus flower. There's no reward. There's no purity. There's no enlightenment. And now, having come out of that, of course, everyone told me it's going to be okay. Everyone told me that there's going to be a lotus at the end of the tunnel. There will be light at the end of the tunnel. But man, when you're going through it, it does not feel that way. And actually, I really think in hindsight now, with the wisdom that I've gained, that if I had just surrendered a little bit harder, I feel like it would have been even more beautiful. And it's so beautiful. But yeah, it's really interesting. You know, we have this metaphor in surfing. And so in surfing, when you wipe out on a big wave, like you're in a bad spot, you know, you're catching a big wave and you wipe out. So you're under the water. It's like a washing machine. You don't know what's up or what's down. In those situations, what you're supposed to do is you're supposed to relax. Hopefully you got a good breath. You take one big deep breath right before you're going to go down, and you hold that breath and you relax. And you just let that wave, you let the ocean just take you where you need to go. Spin you around, upside down, up and down, take you down, 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 all the way down. Maybe you scratch your knee, boom, you hit the reef. You get all messed up. You're still holding your breath and you're just allowing. You're just allowing, surrendered. And you're trusting, okay, I'm gonna be okay. You know, this is the best that I can do. I just need to allow this to happen. And eventually, you know, the water starts to clear. The wave starts to disperse. You feel the bubbles start to rise to the top. And then slowly you make your way up to the surface. You take a big breath of air. Ooh, that was gnarly. And you get back on your board. And you paddle back out. And you try again. Yeah? But the thing is that if you don't relax, if you don't surrender, if you try to fight that wave and you fight too hard, this wave that you chose to catch, you knew you were going to catch that wave. You knew what the consequences could be. Don't be so naive. You knew what the consequences could be. You're the one that chose to go. You're the one that chose to ride that wave. So you go and you catch that wave and you don't make it and you're underwater and you're freaking out. Oh, God, I don't know where up and what's down. Now you're burning oxygen. Oh, brah, you start freaking out. You're panicking. Your mind's racing. You're burning more oxygen. You're underwater. Oh, I'm worried. I don't know if I'm going to make it, this and that. You panic. Shit. You start swimming. Oh, fuck, I just need to get to the surface. Go. All of a sudden, you realize, brah, I'm not even swimming the right way. I'm swimming down. I'm going deeper. I'm going into deeper water now. Oh, brah, you turn around and you start swimming back. Panic, your lungs burning, burning, burning. Oh, God, I don't know if I'm going to make it. I don't know if I'm going to make it. You get to the top. You take a breath. You take a breath. Oh, you get water in your mouth. Oh, water in your lungs. Oh, spit it out. Oh, my God. Oh, shit. You grab your board. Oh, what? I don't. Oh, you're in pain. You're in pain. You're suffering, suffering. You look back out. Nah, I'm not gonna go back out today. Nah. You limp yourself back to the beach. Crawl onto the sand. You lay down on the sand like some dog, some wounded dog with your tail between your legs, and you go home. And maybe you don't even go back out again. Maybe it was that bad. That's what happens when we fight life sometimes. When we don't realize that sometimes you just gotta let go. Sometimes you just gotta let go and let life take you. And when we let go and we let life take us, sometimes we find ourselves exactly where we need to be. But it's hard, isn't it? It's hard. We don't want to give up the fight. We want to keep fighting. Keep fighting, keep fighting. I can push through this. I'm the man. I can do this. I can take this on. I can move through all this suffering. I can be like David Goggins too. I can just be angry as shit at life and just be banging my head on the wall like that's what this is about. Pain, pain, pain is gonna make me better. It's gonna make me stronger. I'm gonna be more of a man. Bro, get that toxic masculinity out of here, cuz. Really? Really? You think you came into this planet to just, like, suffer through pain for your entire existence? That sounds like hell. Why you want to live in hell? For what? For what? I guess if you sadomasochist or you into it, I don't know. I'm not really that into it. Of course. There's gonna be challenges where we're gonna have to stand up. We're gonna have to bring our warrior energy. We're gonna have to really fight. But the fight is not really the reason. And why you want to keep fighting for? Aren't you tired of fighting? Haven't we been fighting against life for far too long? Who are we even really fighting? Who's the real enemy that we're fighting? Or are we really just fighting ourselves? Twisting ourselves up in knots, resisting, afraid to let go, afraid to feel, afraid to let life show us the way, afraid to give up control. Ooh, the ego does not like that. No, the ego does not like to give up control at all. So we collectively spin out in a Western thinking dominated world, so lost from the truth, so distorted, so much suffering that we would choose to create a holographic, artificial, technological distortion of reality, the ultimate disgrace to God. A consciousness so spun out in the mind that it would have the audacity to think that it wasn't made in the light and perfection of the Most High, that it didn't already live in heaven, that God didn't create everything perfect, in peace and balance, in harmony, all working together. Nature is God. We are nature, that every breath we take didn't come from the trees, that every sip of water we drink didn't come from the rivers, that every bite of food we take didn't come from the life of another. You see, even if we live in a concrete jungle, in a distortion, in the false illusion created of man that we are somehow separate from this thing, this life, this planet, that even in that construct, all those rules of nature still apply. Bruh, you think the water in your tap doesn't come from somewhere? You think the food that you eat doesn't come from something? You think the air that you're breathing just comes? Why you taking this thing for granted? Why you not seeing clearly? And it's not your fault, you know? I fell into all that too. Why you think I left Hawaii? Why you think I lived in LA? Why do you think I chased the money? Why you think I wanted to be an influencer on Instagram and wanted all these likes and all of this and all of that, and I wanted the watch and the car and all of these things? Why you think I fell into that? Bruh, because we've all been duped by this false illusion, this colonized mindset, this Western thinking, so lost, so disconnected, this ego trip in our collective consciousness that we've been duped into thinking is just the way it is, brah. It's not. That's not the way at all. I know. I remember what all of our ancestors knew. I remember what they fought to protect. I remember what this life is really about. I remember what it really means to be a man, to be a keiki oka aina, a child of the land, to live with indigenous wisdom, to be a good steward of life, to do the right thing, to live in sacred reciprocity and harmony with life, to come back home, to land, taking in this sacred breath and exhaling this breath, allowing our energy to ground into the sacred core of this earth, allowing the Divine Mother to hold us in her grace, resting in the safety and security of this sacred gravity, being held here by our sacred feminine leader, holding you in her arms with grace. This Divine Mother, this mother that we all share, is our true mother, is our true divine feminine energy. This mother, Mother Earth, Pachamama, has held us in her arms for eternity. She has never abandoned you, ever. And any time you have felt that you have been abandoned, that is a false illusion and a distortion. We don't get to choose who our mothers are. Maybe we do on a soul level. But this Divine Mother has always been with you and will never abandon her children. She will always love you, and she wants you to come home to her. She wants you to honor her. She wants you to love her and have a relationship with her. and be a good child. Be a good boy that will turn into a good man. A man that will teach others about these ways. A man that will show up and protect these lands. Protect his family. That will be integrated into the community. That will make life better for those around him, not in a colonized, extortionary way of just stealing resources from other people to feed yourself. No, that's not the way. But in the way of living in alignment with the natural world. There is a saying in Hawaiian culture that basically goes, if you're going to have your hands up and ask for something, you might be sitting there for a lifetime. But if you put your hands down and you start to take care and love that which is around you, take care of the land, plant the seeds, grow the food, take care of the soil, she gonna take care of you. She gonna give you everything that you need. The illusions created by the false interpretation of God through man have indoctrinated our consciousness and warped itself into external reality, into a mass mind virus and distortion of truth. We live in a fake world that is very easy to get lost in. I encourage you, if you are still listening to this transmission, to be careful. Be careful. The matrix is strong. Many people are losing their souls in this time right now. They are completely untethering from the earth. They are getting lost in the holographic, artificial, technological distortion that is penetrating our reality. They are losing touch with their souls. We are probably going to see a lot of people eject in the coming future, whether that is physically leaving their bodies, or whether that is putting on a virtual reality headset and not living in physical reality anymore. You can take that information as you will. For me, I've come to the realization that the only thing that I can really do is be steadfast. Onipa'a. Onipa'a. Steadfast. Steadfast in holding on to my deepest realization. Anything else is simply nihilism. And if I'm going to give up, be done with it already. Can I die? Can I really die? Can any of us really die? Can you actually get out of this? Can you get out of this thing? Can you? Do you really believe that? You really believe that this thing can just end? You believe that that somehow you're here now, and that somehow you weren't here before? Do you remember not being here before? It's 11:11 right now. If life is eternal, giving up is not an option, because death is just a continuation of life. And so I move into 2025 with clarity and conviction that in my deepest realization, I have found my truth. In losing everything material, in letting it all go and letting life take me, I found myself. I found my soul, our soul. You know, in my first ayahuasca journey, I saw the mother tree. Quite like the Avatar movie, if I do say so. I saw all of us dancing around that sacred tree in all the ways that we live and breathe and life, all the ways that we life. And I found us all dancing around this sacred tree. And that is the life experience. That's what's really happening underneath the layers and the illusions on the surface. The surface tension of the mind being projected into reality as a distortion of the truth. We don't need to live into that anymore. We don't need to give our energy into that. It's enough. They got enough energy, bro. They can siphon as much energy as they like, but I'm not going to give my energy there, because I got to stand in my truth. I got to stand in my deepest realization. That's the only way that I find meaning. I find energy. I find life force to carry on, to push forward. It's the only way. I can't change the world outside of myself. I really can't. None of us can. You can't change it. You can't change anything outside of yourself. The only thing that you can do in this lifetime is be yourself, is work on yourself, is change yourself. You are a conscious sovereign being with choice. You have the autonomy as a conscious sovereign being with the choice to decide how you choose to engage with this construct, with this life. And so I choose, I choose, I choose, I decide, I decide, I decide to come home to love, come home to my higher purpose. I choose to devote my energy, my vitality, and my life force to attuning myself to my highest, greatest good, the good and the version of myself, the man that I am becoming that is in alignment with life itself, that what comes through me is sacred reciprocity. What comes through me is fertility and abundance and life affirming prosperity, so that everything that I touch, every person I touch, any land that I touch can be perpetuated in goodness and righteousness, so that I am showing up in a way that provides and stewards the next generation to come up and transition into manhood. I show up in a way where our elders can be heard and taken care of. I show up in a way where we grow food, where we have clean water, where we bring back the balance in this world that has become so lost. I want to show up not only for myself, but for everyone around me. I want to help guide our children and initiate them back into these sacred ways, so that our life, my life, can be a sacred offering to the divine, so that one day, when my day of transition comes and it's my time to go, I can die fully and peacefully, knowing that I truly lived and I loved fully in the center of the universe, in my heart, in our heart. And so I give thanks for this life. I give thanks to all those that have walked this path before me and all those that will come after. I give thanks for the seen and the unseen, for this great remembrance and this collective awakening that we are moving through. I give thanks for the ancestors, for the angels. I give thanks to the Most High and all of the divine allies and protectors that guide me and watch over me. I ask them to be with me now. As I pray for us and anyone tuning into this frequency, may they be so blessed wherever they are. May they remember why they came into this body, into this life, and may they feel in their hearts just how much they are loved by it all. Great Spirit, Akua, bless our path with clarity. Help us to see clearly. Help us to remember. Help us to let go of the distortions and illusions from the woundings of our past and allow us the courage to move forward into a new. May this year be the best year yet. Mahalo e nā akua, mahalo e nā aumakua, mahalo e nā kopuna. Mahalo, mahalo, mahalo. I give thanks for this land. Aloha aina. I give thanks for spirit. Aloha akua. I give thanks for one another. Aloha kanaka. Mahalo. Gracias, gracias, gracias. A mama ua noa. Aho matakiasen. Ashe. Amen. Amiteot. Namaste. Aloha ma.